Okay, looks like we're back. We're doing Chapter 3 of the assembly instructions. This will be the X-axis assembly. And I'm sure you're wondering, how come he didn't mention the gummy bears? Well, that's because I really don't want to share. But, like all Prusa products, it did come with gummy bears. The chewy variety. Moving on. Coffee. Groot says hi. Parts we need for this. Oh yeah, I can talk with this in my mouth. Ah. I'm going to need the X-axis 3D printed parts. These 3 parts. Going to need a belt. Going to need the long rods. 2 zip ties. 6 bearings from the 6 bearings from the X-axis bag. I opened these up and cleaned them up ahead of time, save time. And the idler, which in this case I recovered from my previous machine. That should be, oh, we need this part too. Now this is interesting. I got my borescope back up to speed. And now I can show you things like, it actually does say, like I'm coordinated here. Here we go. X-axis on the motor. Cool, huh? So, set the pieces aside. Grab them as we need them. And instructions say this is an easy step. Takes 30 to 45 minutes. And in the first segment we need 4 bearings, the idler, the 2 orange pieces, and it looks like that's it. Oh, don't need this guy yet. Okay, insert the LM8UU bearings as shown in the picture. Don't push the bearings from the other side. Oh, okay. I'll lay this out the same way it shows it on. Yeah. Same way it shows it in the instructions, is like that. And it wants the bearings to go in from this side. The reason for that, there's a little lip down here that stops them. I almost trimmed that out, thought it was flashing, but it's not. It's a stop for these bearings. And when we get done, it says the bottom set of bearings. Ugh. Yeah, right. Should be seated on that little rim I pointed out at the bottom. Yeah, okay. Boy, my printer printed nice parts. Perfect fit. And the second set of bearings go in until they're flush, like that. I'm sure he didn't intend me to use that for a tool, but I'm using it for a tool. Perfect. And that's it for those 2. Oh my gosh. Looking down. Well, people, we get to start over. Aren't you impressed? I am. You'll see why in just a second. Let me get these out of here. Okay. Like the bearings on the x-axis, they have a specific orientation. So we have to do that. The first ones that go in, you want to line up with a blank spot in the bearing. I don't know if we can see this. Let's try. Yeah. So there's a blank spot. You want that on the bottom. Yeah, you don't want a row of bearings on the bottom, but you want the blank spot on the first bearing that goes in. So the bottom being this flat surface down here. So I want a blank spot first. Go in from the correct end. Blank spot down first. Shove those all the way in. And then on the next one, you want a row of bearings on the bottom, which like that. Oops, push that one in too far. My handy dandy bearing adjusting tool. Put it in flush, and there you go. It helps to read the instructions all the way through first. Had you looked at the first picture, you would have thought just shove the bearings in, but there were 3 pictures in the upper right of each instruction. Go through all 3 of them so you familiarize yourself with what's next. Now we want this part. I want you to identify this piece as a later model piece. Anything newer than B6, this is R2, so it's much newer. And you're looking for these 2 holes right here. And what we're going to do, you put one of these little bitty square nuts in this hole, like so. And in theory, this screw will go into there. Siri, I'm not talking to you.
What's the latest on that stock?
Goodbye, Siri.
So long.
Sorry about that. Artificials interrupt you all the time. It says to screw it in, but not so far that it's visible in this hole right here. Okay, let's see, make sure that it is not visible in the hole marked. See last picture. Release it slightly. Now we'll go to the other piece, this one. Put a nylock in this hole, if we're lucky. If you're going to use pliers like I'm doing, do it gently. You don't want to break anything. I let the screw pull it the rest of the way in. Then the tricky part is getting this in there, but it really isn't that tricky. I'll show you why. You take an Allen wrench, put it in through the nut, then you can just drop this guy in there, sliding him around until you can catch him with sliding. Hello. We're trying to do this unskilled, so. Okay, see, I've caught it that way. Now all I have to do is follow the Allen wrench back across. Just like so. Snug that down. Again, this only needs to be snug and catch that nylock. You want to make sure the bearing spins freely, which it does. Next step, grab 2 rods. There's one. There's one. Okay, once we put 2 bearings on 1 rod, and be careful to get them, you know, don't go cattywampus. This is a soft plastic liner and you can damage it, so you want to make sure you're straight. 2 on 1, 1 on 1. Now comes a bit of a tricky part, and I know that because I've done it before. You place this piece facing that way, and this piece facing this way. No, this way. There we go. These 2 trapezoid nut holders should be facing each other, so you know you're correct. And then this one will go, the single bearing will go away from this big piece, which is up here. And you're supposed to shove them in just until they bottom. Better do this one next. Wow, my printer did such a perfect job. And there you have it. Ah, there's a special opening. Look at there. He didn't have this in a previous version. There's an opening right here, and you can check it to make sure the end of the rod is visible, so you know they're seated properly. Next, the motor with the install the pulley. Like I said, this one came off my old machine. It is the correct one, x-axis. And because it came off my old machine, the pulley's still on it. I'll adjust it if I need to later. Just remember, one of the set screws has to sit on the flat part of the motor shaft. So skipping ahead, because it's what I do. Also, on the motors, there's a tab on the other end that hooks to the Rambo board. Well, they don't call it a Rambo board more anymore. It's an Einstein board, Anyway, the cables are marked besides just the motor, so you'll know which one's which. If anybody's interested in live streaming, highly recommend Streamlabs OBS, which is what I'm using, and then the remote, which is how I switch cameras easily. It's on my iPad. In fact, I can show you that real quick. This is what it looks like on my iPad. And for instance, a borescope camera, click, click, haha. Cool, huh? Get that back there. Which way does the cable face? The cable is going to be facing down. You take 3 screws. And again, like I said, it's easier if you leave them pretty loose to start with so that you can see that they're in the holes. And it's another case if you do not want to cross thread these. If you're meeting resistance, then you've cross threaded them. You need to change it. And since this is an upgrade kit for the MK2s, as I mentioned earlier, go through right after you print the parts and let them cool first to make sure all the holes are the right diameter. That'll save you from having to stop what you're doing just to what is it called? Just to clean those holes out. Snug, back off a pinch. Snug, back off a half turn. Snug, back off half turn. Okay. And that's all we're doing with that. Next is this doohickey. 2 of those. A bunch of square nuts. Okay, bunch of square nuts. No, I'm not talking about Prusa, I'm talking about these. And they go in. Where do they go? Oh, there they are. Black is a Bearcat, I know, so to see on camera. But we've got some little slots. Yeah, you're not going to be able to see them. Right here, the instructions point them out very well in their picture. So we won't put those in there. Tweezer routine. Why? Because my fingers don't fit in here. Hello. Use an Allen wrench to make sure they're centered in the hole. Again, if you're using pliers to do this, be careful. Sure it's centered. Good job. Now another test of my printer. Is always use something on the part as a reference to the way they want you to put these in. And on this machine, they want the heads at this end near the single bearing seat, and they go through here. Another blind hole done successfully. Okay. Now we want to grab this doohickey and turn it this way, it says. Just a little something to keep the cable out of the way. 2 bearings, 1 bearing. The longer slot is the seat for 2 bearings. It has a shoulder on each end. And it go just like this. Put these little guys on here and run them down. Make sure that the retaining portion is all the way down against. There's actually a little recess there for this one. Rotate it, snug it up. I always use pliers and get them just, you know, reasonably snug. Make sure they're inside those shoulders. That's what I just did. I snapped that bearing over. I should have checked on that first. Now you cut these off. Moving on. Ah, no moving on. X carriage finished. This bearing will be retained when we do the other half of the carriage that goes there. So, another piece finished. Catch you on the flip side. Remember to like, share, and hit that bell to be notified of future live streams. Bye.